I'd say what I definitely do different is it's important to me, before we even go flying, is we're going to talk a little bit about the helicopter, and it's important to me to demystify the helicopter to people, especially if it's their first time ever flying, let alone in a helicopter. And we talk about the basics of how the machine works, and most importantly, some of our safety features.
So additionally, being able to view our area from the air is really exciting because you get to see the vineyards, the topography. You can also see the geology of places like Pilot Mountain. We can fly and orbit the area around Pilot Mountain, which was such an important feature to the Native Americans here. They were using as a landmark for so long. And being to see Elkin and how Elkin is situated along the creek and the Yadkin River front, and why it was so important as a location for a town that was springing up at that time, including Jonesville before that, along ancient trails that had already been established, and that's where Jonesville was originally built. And so it's a really interesting perspective, a very unique perspective to see all that from above. I've also been able to often help people who are looking at land to survey or thinking about purchasing land or how to use the land that they have in certain areas that are either inaccessible or difficult to look at online or not accessible by drones, for example. And at Google Maps and Google Earth, you can see so much, and so be able to see that from the air. And I can travel to a piece of property. They can tell me it's here in Thurmond or over here in Trap Hill or over here in this area, and we can travel to their property and orbit the area. They can see the land. They can take pictures. We can kind of divert out and look at the roads and how the roads access the area, and come back around to see the other housing that's surrounding or farmland, where the interstate is and how that connects, and we'd spend a bit of time just orbiting that area and exploring, and then we can head back to the airport or any other points they'd like to see. Looking at a new career for me from my background and how amazing and challenging the experience that I had throughout my time with Blue Man Group was going to have to be something that was equally challenging and provided opportunity to continue to grow and learn. And that's what brought me to being a pilot and to helicopters in particular. For me, there is a similarity to an extent with winemaking, with wine, with brewing and beer in general, and flying, believe it or not, is that with all of those things, you are a lifelong student. There is always more to learn, and you're continuing to grow and challenge yourself. Every vintage is different. As the grapes come in that growing season, every takeoff and landing is different. Even though it's the same runway and same airport, the weather is different that day. The winds are blowing from a slightly different direction in a slightly different way, and there is no two takeoff and landings that are the same. So when you're becoming a pilot, and especially upper levels as a commercial pilot, as an instructor, you basically have to become a meteorologist. The level of weather aptitude, the information, the weather reporting services, you really become a weather forecaster in your own right. And it turns out that has been extremely useful growing vines. Believe it or not, flying the helicopter is very, very delicate. It's very finesseful and takes tiny motions of your hand with the controls to turn. Honestly, the first thing I tell students to do when we're doing an introductory flight lesson is, if you want to turn the helicopter, just look to the right. And just looking in that direction, you subconsciously move your hand that tiny little bit, and the helicopter, sure enough, starts to drift in that direction. Well, with brewing the beer, we are manipulating the chemistry, especially in things like the mash, for example, that very specific and subtle temperature ranges can make a huge difference in the finished beer. So operating a control panel like this, controlling fermentation temperatures with the wine, and the way that I manipulate the controls of the helicopter, I can be very, very delicate and finesseful in how I am affecting the outcome of what's going to happen. And it's all with that base knowledge of understanding the chemistry and the components of how it all comes together later. Now that more people are coming to visit the area, seeing attractions like the vineyards, coming to places like this, and other breweries that are springing up, the way that we are situated here on Main Street at Elgin, which is also a feature
and a destination for people to come and see the shops here and go to restaurants, and that being able to see all of those things from the air also puts things in a really interesting perspective. We're bordering the Yadkin River right here behind us, as Elkin is situated on one side of the river and the Big Elkin Creek, which comes by the vineyard, and a lot of the early mills, including the textile mills, were right there on the river. The railroad would run right through there along the edge of that creek bank, and then continue on through here to town. And then the bridges that connected to Jonesville, and how Jonesville is situated on the other side of the river. And being able to see all that from the air and follow the river and go straight down Main Street and see all the little buildings and these adorable little downtown main streets it's a really interesting, completely unique perspective to be able to see it from the sky.
Doing introductory flight lessons is one of my favorite things to do because it's an opportunity to share with people for the first time and maybe the only time in their life the experience of flying in a helicopter and even manipulating the controls if they'd like. They don't have to, but that experience of helicopter flight is completely unique. There is no other machine that does what it does. Only a helicopter can do what it can do. And being able to, it's almost like having a superpower, being able to hover, to travel in any particular direction. When you're flying straight and level and flying through the air, it flies very much like an airplane, but much more in contact. It's kind of like the difference between driving a car or riding a motorcycle. You're much more in connection with the wind and with the environment. We're much lower, and we're just more in touch with the ground and the things around us. And the things that a helicopter can do are completely unique, and it just is sad to me for people who are that close to an opportunity to experience that for one time in their life that never do.